Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 2000's Represent. We're starting out 2002 with an album. In this episode, we're talking about Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. Just an amazing album. Probably, if I had to rank it, probably my favorite album from them. This one's incredibly solid. I didn't pick it up right when it came out. I want to say the first time I heard the song was probably something from this album. I think it was No One Knows. Probably heard it on like the radio a few times. And then that song ended up making it into the original Guitar Hero game a few years later in 2005. But yeah, it's just an incredible album. I actually have it on CD and vinyl. So picked this one up quite a while ago. It wasn't right when it came out, but it was within a few years of it coming out. So that is the original album there. So Queens of the Stone Age. Again, Songs for the Deaf. You've got the logo there and the case there. Pretty solid. And then recently, within the last few months, I picked it up on vinyl. I wasn't going into the record store with the intention of picking this up. So a new record store opened up fairly close by. And I was going in there because I saw they had the Essential Foo Fighters album. I was kind of torn on picking that up. I picked up the CD when it came out, but it's missing Aurora, one of the Foo Fighters' best songs, probably my personal favorite. So the Essential Foo Fighters is missing that, so I didn't pick up the vinyl, but then I was like, hey, let me give like this local business some support. Went in there, picked up that vinyl, and Songs for the Deaf was playing, and then I asked them if they had that on vinyl, and ended up picking it up. It sounds incredible on vinyl, and yeah, there's the back of it. Just an absolute classic from them. I have some notes here about it, and then we'll get to like the track list and all that kind of stuff. So let me just open this up. So Songs for the Deaf was first released August 27th, 2002. This is their third studio album. So I think I covered on the 1998 series their debut, because their debut came out in 1998, just self-titled Queens of the Stone Age. Then I think a couple years later we got Rated R, which was the follow-up to that, and then a couple years after that, in 2002, we got Songs for the Deaf. The cool thing with this is it's essentially functions basically like a concept album. It's essentially just a hard rock album, but there is kind of this narrative. You don't really want to call it. It's not necessarily a narrative, but it is about a drive from LA to Joshua Tree. And there are little interstitial bits between songs of various radio DJs from various regions, I suppose. Like you're driving through LA, you have one station, you get out of LA, it turns into a different station with a different DJ. You get to another area, there's another station there. So basically, you have the songs, you have DJs introducing the songs, and then you have like the sound of like radio dials turning once you like, oh, that station is out of range. Let me change the station, and you have this kind of running story, if you want to call it that, of basically a road trip from LA to Joshua Tree. Kind of running joke with Queens of the Stone Age albums is, or basically all their music, kind of this, just a big joke is that it's all about doing drugs in the desert. So that's kind of like a running concept here. And Joshua Tree basically is like this big desert kind of area in California. This was their first record to go gold. So again, they had two records before this. Big thing with this one is that Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters ended up joining them for this album. I think there were a lot of issues going on for him personally with the Foo Fighters at this time. I remember there was talk of the band potentially breaking up over some of those issues. And then he ended up joining Queens of the Stone Age and drumming on this record. And his drumming on this is just incredible. It might be some of his best drumming like ever, like across any kind of like whether it be Nirvana or Foo Fighters or solo stuff or with Queens of the Stone Age. You could definitely tell he was taking out any kind of aggression or personal issues that were going on at the time, taking them out on the drums. There's a bunch of Queens of the Stone Age songs that have made it into like the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. And I remember, so if you depending on what instrument you're playing, there'll be difficulty levels for each instrument. Like a song that's easy on guitars might be incredibly difficult on vocals, or a song that is maybe like easy vocally is really difficult on guitar or drums. Pretty much everything off this album that is in, I think the last version I still have is Rock Band 3. All the songs on this album are like rated at like the most extreme difficulty for drums. Like I think it's like there's like 5 stars, and then there's like the 5 stars that have like the symbols crossed off. I forget exactly what they look like, but it just is there to show you that these songs are incredibly difficult on whatever the instrument is. So yeah, some of his most just brutal drumming. I think with Dave, we get a lot of his best music when there is stuff going on in his personal life, like various turmoils and things. When he's going through a bunch of stuff with creating The Color and the Shape, that ended up becoming one of their best records for Foo Fighters. And then going through stuff here, those issues got translated to just incredible drum work on this album. Let's see here. The logo on this album is the pitchfork. And the reason I bring that up is I went to Laguna Beach both this year and in 2024. And in 2024, I was telling my Uber driver, what I was there for, because we were celebrating what would have been, I think, Taylor Hawkins' 52nd birthday in 2024. And there was a huge mural of Taylor Hawkins in kind of like the downtown area of Laguna Beach. There's another one that's like a little bit, I think, south of that and behind like a surf shop. But I was telling the driver about this, and he's like, we ended up talking about the LA Taylor Hawkins tribute concert and how Josh Homme was there, played a few songs with them Crooked Vultures. I think John Theodore, who is also in Queens of the Stone Age, was also there. But yeah, he's like, hey, check out my pitchfork tattoo from Queens of the Stone Age. And then we just started talking about a bunch of different Queens of the Stone Age stuff, and stuff that Josh Homme had done like prior to Queens of the Stone Age, like Kuss or whatever that band was. It was just like a really cool Uber interaction, and the guy basically, like I said, had this logo. I think it was on his leg. It was kind of cool. So Josh Homme apparently invited Dave Grohl to join them, and I think Dave wanted to join, or at least collaborate with them, as far back as their second album, which I think was in 2000. So Rated R came out, I believe, a couple years after their self-titled album. So yeah, Josh invited him to join. The Foo Fighters did the reason. Like I think Dave has known Josh since like 2000 or like 1992, I think, or 90. I forget when my research came up. Let me actually just bring that up because I did have the notes up here earlier. Let me see here. Yeah, so they had known each other for a while before that, but so they've known each other since 1992. That's what I thought, and Queens of the Stone Age did open for Foo Fighters on like one of their tours, so it was kind of just made perfect sense for Dave to join here, and then of course both Josh and Dave eventually spun that off into them Crooked Vultures with John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin. They did an album. Kind of want them to get together and do another one. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, Josh invited him to do it. The album has 3 kind of singles. So we have No One Knows, Go With The Flow, and First It Giveth. Like I said, I remember hearing, I think it was No One Knows on the radio, and then like I said earlier, that made it into the original Guitar Hero game. I think that was in 2005. Apparently, I remember listening or hearing a interview with Josh Homme. I can't remember like who was doing the interview or where it was. It was on YouTube somewhere. But he was saying how his first guitar teacher was basically teaching him polka music on the guitar, and then Josh Homme was kind of saying how a lot of the times, even though he had those lessons years and years ago, the polka influences still kind of bleed into some of the stuff he does with Queens of the Stone Age. So like he was like, the intro to No One Knows is basically like a polka number because it's like bum bum no bum bum like that. So kind of had a polka instructor at first, and then that kind of still kind of bleeds into some of his other work. The album came out to really good reviews. I'm actually going to bring those reviews up now, and then we'll get to our track list here. So let me just see Queens of the Stone Age. So it has Metacritic has it at an 89 out of, or yeah 89 out of 100. All Music has it at a 5 out of 5. We have a 4 out of 5 from Blender. Entertainment Weekly has it at an A. The Guardian has it at a 4 out of 5. 3 out of 4 from the LA Times. NME has it at a 9 out of 10. 7.9 out of 10 from Pitchfork. Q has it at a 4 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 from Rolling Stone. And Uncut has it at a 5 out of 5. We're now going to move into our track list here. So it's basically 14 tracks. A couple of those tracks are actually hidden tracks, but it comes in at just a little over an hour, so 60 minutes and 53 seconds. It actually has a track 0. So a really weird thing is this hidden track. So a lot of times with a hidden track, it's usually tacked on at the end of the album. This one actually has a hidden track at the end as well. But usually a hidden track is at the very end of the album, usually like not listed. Like let's say the album goes up to let's say like 13 tracks. Track 14 might be that hidden track. Or you have just a long gap like on a song. I remember I think it was trying to think of the album. I think it was Smashed by the Offspring. Has a hidden instrumental to keep them separated. So you gotta keep them separated. At the end of the last song on that album, there's like a huge gap, like between like the end of that song and the start of this instrumental. So it's technically one track, but it's like there's a huge chunk of silence in between it. So usually that's the way you do your hidden tracks is you have them at the end or kind of just tacked onto the very end of the song, like usually like a while later. This one has a track 0, so the way you get to it is you need to do it on CD. I think if you do it on Apple Music, it's just listed there. But yeah, basically, it's track 0 is the real song for the death, and the way you get to it is you put the CD in your CD player, you start playing it, and then you start rewinding the CD, and basically you'll rewind through the beginning of track 1 into this hidden track, which is the real song for the death, which is apparently, according to the Queens of the Stone Age wiki, it was made they were rubbing balloons against microphones, which has a frequency that deaf people can feel. So that's in the wiki. I'll leave a link to the Queens of the Stone Age wiki in the description here. But anyhow, so onto our track listing. Again, the track 0, the hidden track, real song for the deaf. They call it a pre-gap track. It's just an instrumental. Track 1 is You Think I Ain't Worth a Dollar, But I Feel Like a Millionaire. That has the kind of very first radio station. I think it's Clone Radio. After that, you move into track 2, No One Knows. Probably one of the first, like I said, the first song from them I heard, or off this album. And this is kind of, this is the one that ended up going into Guitar Hero. So track 2 was No One Knows. Track 3 is First It Giveth. I think that one actually has one of the radio station bits as well. First It Giveth is just an incredible song. Track 4 is Song from the Dead. Track 5 is The Sky Has Fallen. Track 6 is Six Shooter. Track 7 is Hanging Tree. Track 8 is Go With The Flow. That one is just iconic. I think that eventually showed up in one of the Rock Band games. It's like maybe it was a DLC. I don't remember. But yeah, Go With The Flow is just incredible. Track 9 is Gonna Leave You. Track 10 is Do It Again. Track 11 is God Is in the Radio. Track 12 is another love song. Track 13 is Song from the Dead, which has like an outtake for the feel good hit of the summer. And then track 14, another hidden track, is Mosquito Song, and that's the final track of the album there. But yeah, basically the lineup for this album is Josh Homme on guitar and vocals. You have Nick Olvieri on bass, Dave Grohl on drums, except for he's not on track 1, so he's not on You Think I Ain't Worth a Dollar or Go With The Flow. I think it's at track 8, right? And then Mark Langan on additional vocals as well. But yeah, this is just an incredible album. I think easily my favorite album from them. And they have some banger albums for sure. Like I said, this is my favorite. But then Like Clockwork is incredible. Their newest one, I think In Times New Roman, I thought was pretty good. Their self-titled is decent. And then Rated R, I think, is also pretty solid as well. I think at this point I've listened to the entire discography. I've not seen them live yet, and they played here, I want to say, a couple years back, and I wasn't able to go to it. Kind of regretted not going. And then I know they ended up postponing or canceling a bunch of dates due to Josh Homme had some health issues. I think they're back now, because I remember seeing some clips of them playing somewhat recently. But yeah, next time they roll through, I'm definitely going to check them out. Just like I said, just an incredible band, and I think this is their finest album. Again, have it on vinyl here. Sounds absolutely incredible. And then have the CD that I got a while back as well. But that is going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in a few days covering a movie from 2002. Then we'll be doing a video, not a few days, sorry, in a week from now, actually. A few days is the 90s series. But yeah, we'll be back in a week with the movie, and a week after that with a video or computer game. And then we'll be doing 2003. Like I said, like when we first started this series, we're going to do at least one complete cycle, and then kind of see how I feel at the end of that, and maybe we'll do an additional cycle after that. But yeah, that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one.